I'm just excited to hear who you're going to crown as this week's local legend.
Oh, I suppose it's that time, huh? Well, this week's local legend, out of St. Cloud, Minnesota. The name, St. Cloud Cathedral High School alumni, University of Minnesota alumni, Nate Schmidt. And for those of you who are wondering who Nate Schmidt is, well, considering he went to Cathedral High School in the University of Minnesota, you're probably thinking hockey player. Well, yeah, he's a hockey player and he's a pretty damn good one. Recently, he currently playing for the Florida Panthers, who are in they're in the Stanley Cup right now, aren't they?
Yeah, in the Stanley Cup Finals, and he is having one whale of a Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, for a 33-year-old, who many people are kind of saying, from what I heard, is that a lot of people were thinking, man, he's just kind of a role player pickup for the Panthers, but he might be the reason they go ahead and freaking win the Stanley Cup Finals here.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but he has definitely been a plus role player for them. He currently has 5 assists in this playoffs, which is 13th all time for a defenseman, which is pretty good. And considering when you look at some of the names ahead of him on that list, names like Paul Coffey, Larry Murphy, and some of those guys had 6, 7 game series to do that. Nate Schmidt's only done it in 5 games so far, and he has game a chance in game 6 to clinch it in front of his home fans and rob Edmonton of a cup and rob a Canadian team, continue Canada's streak of not bringing home a Stanley Cup that has started in 1993.
Ooh, that is very interesting that you bring that up. So I personally did not know that. So,
Well, at
I
least
mean,
Canadians don't care that much about hockey.
right.
I just find it so interesting. Minnesota, the North Stars were still in Minnesota. That was their last season, that 92-93 season. And I
Wow.
found another interesting stat looking up. So the June 9th, 1993, Montreal Canadiens win the last Canadian Stanley Cup. Also on that day, Jurassic Park does their like theater premiere, so it's for all the big wigs and stuff. They do that. 2 days later, it goes live in theaters, and the rest is history. So Canada has won 0 cups when you could go see Jurassic Park in theaters. So and they're very much long overdue. And it's just has been a heck of a hockey series. You've had a few overtime games. You've had one period in out of 18 now go scoreless. So it's if you like hockey, you're gonna love this series. And Nate Schmidt is a great pick for your local legend this week.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, hockey, I mean, as much as I talk crap about hockey players, I mean, hockey really is a fun sport to watch. I mean, for someone that's not, a big hockey fan like myself, I mean, when you watch it on TV, you go watch it in person, it's a lot of fun to watch. There's a lot of things going on. I mean, you don't really appreciate how good of an athletes those guys are until, you're watching them in person and skating's tough on its own, but I mean, the way those guys make it look is impressive. And in school, of course, you and I didn't play hockey in high school or anything like that, but we're from the state of hockey. We're currently live in the state of hockey, and that's pretty cool. I graduated high school with Eric Polkamp, who's currently Uh, I believe he was a first, second round pick in the latest NHL draft. So I currently play at the University of Denver. Or sorry, that'd be third round, I guess. 132nd overall. So or third or fourth round, but dude's a stud. So
No, Minnesota produces a lot of hockey talent, and you can watch a lot of hockey games, and you'll find at least one player that was born in Minnesota, a key contributor. And they just provide such a great atmosphere too because they're so selfless. They are your true athletes. And I think and it's just even better when it comes to playoff hockey. John Boyce, he's a pretty good YouTuber. This is one of my favorite quotes of his. Why watch overtime playoff hockey when you can simply snort cocaine and ride a motorcycle out of a helicopter? And I and I think you would get less adrenaline riding doing the cocaine helicopter spot than you do watching a playoff hockey game, especially when your team is in it. And I was pretty casual hockey fan, especially for the Wild, and I was very much invested in that.
Yeah.
And
Uh, yeah, the NHL made a great, it's not to I credit professional sports organizations, but this year the NHL did instead of, a traditional All-Star game with what was the cup called this year?
the Four Nations face off that.
Yeah, that was I think that got hockey fans from everywhere or sports fans from everywhere fired up for hockey. I've never in that championship game, it started, for the USA and Canada, the pool play game. The way the USA came out and started just freaking fighting guys, that kind of that got me intrigued, and I never got so invested in freaking hockey games. That was a straight genius move by the NHL. I think they got everybody fired up about hockey, and it was fun to freaking watch.
Yeah, the instigator of that fight, Matthew Tkachuk, currently leading this Panthers team, hopefully to their second straight Stanley Cup. And yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was the sporting event at the
Oh,
time.
it 100% was. Like for me, when the first USA Canada game went on, I was actually up at Lake of the Woods. I'm sitting right across the Rainy River from Canada. I was actually sitting at the bar with the Cup Canadians, and we were
Hey,
throwing some brewskis back, and watching those guys get up and get mad, and I mean, you gotta love it. I mean, it was perfect.
no, for sure. And like that's what sports are all about, especially with the our friendly neighbors up north.
Mhm.
Uh,
I couldn't have been in a better spot at the time, being at Lake of the Woods with Canadians. I mean, it was just perfect.
no, absolutely.
But, well, you got anything else to add, throughout our entire episode? I thought this was a lot happened, this past week, and I'm assuming, moving forward, we're gonna have a lot to add, in a lot of these categories as well. I'm not sure, what PJ has got going on coming up here. Hopefully next week we'll be talking about the Florida Panthers Stanley Cup champions.
I mean, or we could see probably the greatest player of our generation, Connor McDavid, finally raise his cup. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm pretty neutral about it either way. I think it would be fun, and I don't know. I think as a casual observer, I think I'm just looking for some good hockey, and I'm glad this series provides it. And hopefully, we're talking about 7 games of great hockey.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, and I'm also hoping we're continuing to talk about a great College World Series down in Omaha right now. It's already been a blast. It's just going to be even more of a blast. And I mean, I'm not sure when the championship game is here. Well, that'll be next week here, so that'll it's starting to come down to it here. I mean, this is getting to be we're gonna have some good podcasts. We're gonna have some good episodes coming up here for you as we get more involved in the football season. We'll maybe we'll do a little film analysis here uh, about Gophers or Vikings or something like that. The Twins, big big couple series here coming up, so well, stay tuned for that. And man, you got anything else to add here?
I'm excited for the amount of content we're going to be coming up, the high quality content we're going to be pushing out here in the next couple months, couple weeks. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, same. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. Please stay safe out there. We had 3 touchdowns, more than the Iowa Hawkeyes scored in many games last year. And oh, tornadoes, I meant. Uh, sorry for those confused. But ladies and gentlemen, have a blessed night, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you.